Hello, you are listening to the Unqualified podcast. We are your hosts, Diamond,
Carrie,
and Jorge,
where we speak our minds and share our unqualified opinions together. Just a reminder, this is an AI-free podcast. All content is human designed and created by our team. Don't forget, we're unqualified. Have you ever been on an airplane with a child behind you and the child repeatedly keeps kicking the back of your seat? And then the parent refuses to discipline the child or make them stop. Another scenario you might have experienced is seeing a child get their iPad or phone taken away and the child proceeds to have a full-blown meltdown. If you're a teacher, have you noticed students progressively doing worse and worse, not just in their grades and tests, but socially as well? Let's be honest now, these kids didn't raise themselves. But who did? Not their parents. What is iPad parenting and why are so many people doing it these days? iPad parenting is when a parent leaves their child, often unattended, with an iPad or tablet to keep their attention. Wikipedia describes the iPad kid as a pejorative slang term typically used to refer to Generation Alpha children who are addicted to phones or tablets like the iPad and who display negative behaviors as a result of said addiction. The usage dates back to the 2010s, but the term has gone viral several times. Oftentimes, parents in our modern day are overworked and there's no longer a village to help raise the children. And grandparents are unable to retire due to high cost of living. So parents cannot afford childcare or find people in the family to help. The iPad is the cheapest form of childcare. We have children watching programs like Cocomelon. And are they actually bad for children? Yes. Kids are experiencing way too much stimulation at a young age. The overstimulation can mimic symptoms of ADHD, causing children to have issues with attentiveness and other general behavior issues.
you know, actually, I'm going to cut in here. So I saw a video. Hopefully I can find it actually. And we'll put it in the different links that we have. There's a father. He's got a little girl, maybe around 2. And he was showcasing, like, she doesn't have TV time really at home. I think, again, he's a little bit more of one of the parents that is aware of this. And he put on one of the older TV shows, like something we would have watched as kids, Diamond and Jorge. It's like Little Bill or like Oswald. Franklin, like one of those.
Oh, yeah.
And she would watch, but she was still playing with her toys. So, like, if something kind of caught her eye, she'd watch it for, 10, 15 seconds and then went back on her toys. Then he switched to, I think it is actually Cocomelon. He switched to that and, like, child glued. She stopped everything because the whole stimuli is strictly on the TV. And I thought that was really interesting. So it was, like, just a good depiction of how different TV is nowadays, too. Like, the programming that's being made for kids. So, yeah, it's high stimuli for sure.
Yeah, I think I also saw somebody show like a Pup Patrol clip and the music's loud. There's constantly movement on the screen. Like it's super action packed, which as we get older, it's not that crazy, but you got to think these kids are developing. So this is a lot of content for them.
Yeah, it's like Speed for kids.
Yeah. In a way. Yeah.
In a way.
Mr. Crack.
Yeah.
Mr. Crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really causing attention issues with these children, and then they enter school and they can't focus. But my next point is going to be, why should you even care if you're childless? People.
I think this is important.
Personally, I believe that you do have somewhat of a civic duty to participate in raising family, even if the child is not yours. So if your brother decides to have a kid with his baby mama, it's a good thing to help out, Maybe it's annoying for you. And that's just part of life. Shit is annoying.
You're an uncle now.
Unfortunately, shit's annoying, but you have to do it.
They're still family.
For family. And this is not in a way to like guilt you into doing something you really do. Well, what do I owe these people? You don't owe anyone anything, but that mindset is not going to get you or society anywhere. Just be aware of that.
I actually completely disagree about you don't owe anyone anything.
You think you owe everyone everything?
I think everyone owes because we live in a society.
We live in a society.
I think because of that, we all owe everyone at the very least a basic sense of humanity. And that includes treating children and other people's children with respect.
For sure, yeah. I
That's
mean,
fair.
yeah, I think everyone owes each other respect, yes.
Like respect and like the ability to do things. Cause like you would treat a dog with, if you see a dog, you'd be like, oh, here's like maybe some food or water or whatever. If you just see one like roaming around,
Well, not
maybe.
necessarily. There are some evil people in this world.
But in the same vein, I feel like I think not knowing it, that phrase is kind of just too individualistic. That
It is. But we also live in an individualist society.
America does. So I would like to propose a change to that.
I think what you're saying is just like at the bare minimum, you feel like we owe a certain level of support and
Human
sort of
decency.
respect to like innocence, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a certain category of individuals, children, and maybe like the elderly, like really old, that you would
Right.
want to have a level of respect and a level of like care.
Yeah, if a child comes up to you asking you for help, like, are you going to ignore them? Probably not.
I don't
So-
think, me personally, I don't think I owe anyone anything, but I choose to do it because I care about community. That's my personal opinion.
And you know,
Community demands that of you, yes.
I think for
Yeah.
either position, as long as any of these listeners here, wherever side of that spectrum you sit, as long as you feel encouraged from either position, that's great.
Yeah.
If you're
As
like,
long
I
as
don't
the end
have,
result is the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're like, I don't owe anyone, but I want to, that's awesome. And if you feel like I owe a level and I want to, that's great. Either one is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think we all agree. If you want to be part of community, that's kind of what,
Yeah.
That's what it
it has
involves.
to come out of it. Yeah.
It's
that's-
annoying. And, you don't want to do it,
Yeah.
but you're not on this planet alone. You
Yeah,
didn't,
exactly.
you didn't fall out of a coconut tree.
Right, yes.
Not
Exactly.
the coconut tree.
You exist in the context of
Yeah.
everything before you, whatever.
And I'm gonna take a moment to sound just a little woohoo here. I know for some people, like maybe they wouldn't necessarily think of it this way, but even if you're not super close to, a child in your family, or you're just thinking about like, yeah, they're 5 years old, I can't really relate to them yet, or maybe there's just a level of disconnect. It could be many different things. Just something to keep in mind, whether they're related to you or not. Like maybe you go over to your friend's house and they've got a little kid. It's just like, just have a reminder every once in a while to maybe like look outside of yourself and kind of just have like a 10-foot view of just in my opinion anyway, just a reminder of like the fact that you exist, which is cool. And then this individual, this little person, like they're starting their life wherever that is for them. You used to be like that at one point, and like try to at minimum just relate with where they are, because you used to be there at one point, and maybe just try to be present with them. Honestly, to some extent, kids to me they require a lot and they also require minimums. And one of the minimum things that they really just enjoy is like you just being present with them. Like that's it. Like they just want to spend time with you. So if you've got a little niece, you got a little nephew, and you're like, I really want to spend time with a 7-year-old, they would love to just color with you. Really. Like that's all that you really need to do. You don't have to take them to the fair. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It's not really about that. You could just sit down and watch their favorite episode of their show. Like that's
Bluey.
it. So when we
Hey,
say
I'll watch Bluey.
yeah, we watch Bluey.
Without a kid.
When we say, when we say participating with raising families, like, yeah, it doesn't I just want to be a reminder. It does not have to be a big thing. Teach them how to make a pizza at home. Teach them how to do something small. Like, that is, you're helping them grow and you're helping them learn. And it's just the goal for any child, really, at least, again, my opinion is you just help them be 1% better every day. So you don't have to do a big thing. You can do very small things. Help them how to fold their laundry and help them how to brush their teeth. Just do something.
Me personally, I would love to be like that rich aunt that they're excited to visit. Oh, I was just traveling the world. Here's some gifts.
Right. This is from Italy. Here's some chocolate from Dubai. Here's a doll from China.
Not Dubai, but yeah.
Something from Mexico for sure.
Oh yeah, Mexican chocolate works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm deviating this entire conversation.
No, you're,
I promise
you're
we'll go back.
totally good.
I had,
You're totally good.
as a side thing, just because I was thinking about things from Mexico, my cousin's boyfriend came over the other day and he was very sweet. He made us like steak dinners because her and I were working, like we were grinding and we just didn't have time to make food at all. And he was like, oh no, I'll come over and I'll make something because I'm off tomorrow. So he did, and it was delicious. Her and I were like, the steak's actually really good. What did you use? Because he was cooking in our kitchen. And he's like, oh yeah, I got the salt. I hope that's okay. And it was fine that he used the salt, but he used all of her Mexican salt. Like salt she got from Mexico. And we were like, oh shit. Well, we gotta enjoy it
salt
now.
is salt.
Yeah, salt is salt. I never heard of Mexican salt.
NaCl.
It was,
I mean, there's also pink salt, Himalayan pink salt.
it was white,
guess,
but it
yeah.
was like it's finishing salt. So they're very like thick
yes.
pieces, and like
I mean, you
supposedly
can
it
just
was
buy margarita
hand-picked.
salt.
Well, this stuff, I don't know. It was special. This one's like, what she told me, it was
That's true.
handpicked. So it was like a very special jar. And he used it all on one dinner. And she was like, babe, that's finishing salt. That's not seasoning salt. You put that on the end.
Damn, that's definitely an aside.
Yeah.
Okay, back on topic.
Back on topic.
What can we do about it? So we can start by educating our friends, family, and even children on healthy ways to stimulate ourselves. So you don't need to sit in front of Cocomelon all day. You can also help where we can when it comes to raising children in your family or community, depending on your role. And I'm not telling people to go out and randomly offer to babysit children you don't know. That's not what this is about at all. But if your neighbor, is working some late nights and she doesn't have anyone that can help, and if you're comfortable, then that's a great opportunity to go ahead and help someone in your community. Mm-hmm. And, as I said before, while we don't owe anyone anything, that mindset will absolutely be your downfall, because at the end of the day, the children are our future. And it's very easy for people to complain about the generation behind them and blame them for, everything. But these are children. They didn't raise themselves. Somebody raised them. Or maybe they didn't get raised, and that's also a problem,
Yeah.
Too.
So leading into my opinion corner, I really wanted to bring attention to educational issues that children are experiencing due to the lack of parenting. The kids can't read. 69% of fourth graders aren't proficient in reading, according to the nation's report.gov report in 2024.
Ooh.
And that also includes 60% of eighth graders. So there's not a big jump.
And let's just
Not only
mull
is-
on that number for a second. 69. Well, that's a funny number, but that's not what I was trying to say. It's the fact that it's over half.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're saying that if kids in the fourth grade, over half of them cannot read. That like out of 10, isn't that 69? It would be like 7. It'd be like only 3 kids can read proficiently at fourth grade, is what we're saying.
Yeah. And, that does include reading comprehension. So many times children maybe they can read something out loud, but they don't take in what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And they're not absorbing any of the information, nor are they able to comprehend what it could mean or what the reading could be alluding to. There's not they're kind of stuck on A and they can't get to B or C,
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do start to see nationwide test scores going down from 2019. So basically post-COVID scores is where we're seeing the biggest declines. There was also a study that Gen Z started scoring worse, I want to say after 2013, something like that, 8th graders. But I didn't want to include that just because I can only find one doctor that was speaking about it, and the sources weren't really reliable. Not a source that I felt comfortable including here, but just to shoot that out, that is also a possibility. Let me be clear. Teachers are not here to parent your child. They're here to teach your child. But if your student is having issues behaving in class, it is extremely hard to teach them. I had watched this clip from Tony Bryan TV. She had included a ballet teacher discussing her experience with disrespectful parents. And there was a student, and On top of this, I have heard things from other teachers as well. My partner's mother is also a parent in one of the biggest school districts in the US. So I definitely have, this isn't a one-off thing. I've definitely heard this being an increasing issue. But basically for this ballet teacher, she had been asking a student, you know, please sit down, please stop interrupting. We want to make sure we follow directions, because the student was becoming a distraction for the other students as well. When the mother came to pick up the student, the teacher said, so-and-so was having issues following directions in class today. And the parent said, well, why can't you make them sit down? It's your responsibility as a teacher to make them behave. And the reality is the teacher cannot force the student to do anything. The teacher can't. It's actually, from what I understand, the teachers have less power now than when we were students. Like they don't even have detention anymore. They can't take away recess anymore. Well, that's before our time. That's like before our parents' time. They used to beat them with the rulers. Yeah. I'm not saying we got to go back to that, but the fact that you can't even give a student detention or make them lose their recess or put them in, you know, timeout anymore without a parent complaining to the district is crazy. And I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say all the parents just turn into Karens.
Yeah. They kind of do. No, this is crazy. Okay, I don't even know if I should be saying this. But I was speaking to, I'll just say I was speaking to a teacher and they're having issues with a student, right? And they talked to the previous teacher to be like, hey, have you been documenting, you know, the issues with the student and speaking to the parent? Because teachers do need to be really on top of their documentation, because if a parent or student accuses them of something, it's very serious. So the teacher that I was talking to specifically, she was speaking to the teacher from the previous school year. And the previous teacher had disclosed that the parent even threatened to beat them up.
Crazy.
Because they didn't want to accept that their child had issues. These are what our teachers are dealing with. And we wonder why like so many of them are quitting or switching to like project management or taking their skills and trying to do a transferable career, because this is what they deal with. They deal with students that misbehave and students that aren't equipped to properly handle low simulation settings where there's no focus because the parent is not properly monitoring their screen time. And then a lot of disrespect. They get disrespect from both the student and the parent.
It sounds like parents don't want to raise kids. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, a lot of them, it seems like that. They don't want to sit with their child and actually teach them how to behave and how to, I guess there's not like that sense of normalcy, you know? It's definitely concerning. It's really concerning. And another thing I wanted to discuss too was I was watching the clip from Ashley Embers. I'll link that down below as well. When she was discussing child reliance on AI and the kids' addiction to screens and even the emergence of AI teachers. Have you guys seen anything about that?
I have not heard of this. What are AI teachers?
Okay, so some schools are being made by tech companies where the AI teaches a student and they have a guide in the classroom. So the guide is not a credentialed teacher, but they're the ones I guess they're basically there to monitor the children while the AI teaches the children, which is insane.
Crazy.
Right? And then, you know, combining that with the children's addictions to screens, it's really difficult. I've even seen a teacher that said that the students will ask her to put on like YouTube videos and stuff because they're used to so much stimulation. They need to listen to something while they work.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's the Subway Surfer kids, right? Like they're listening to a video and they have the Subway Surfer game in the background at the same time.
Yep. That's the amount of stimulation that children are like bugging for these days. Because they're so used. They do not know how to be bored. Yeah. They don't know how to be bored.
Yeah.
And so it's causing behavioral issues in the classroom. It's clearly affecting test scores. And at the same time, we have teachers that they can't get any more funding. Funding is being taken away. Not only that, I wanted to touch base on, so for the teacher that I was speaking to, she told me that there's one child psychologist at the school for 600 children.
Oh my God.
If it drops below 600 children, they don't have that psychologist anymore.
600 is
600 to one child psychologist.
Okay, hold on. We're saying 600 is the required number to get one person for that?
Yes.
That is crazy.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember if we had a psychologist. I thought we just had
Some
advisors.
just have a counselor.
And that's it.
So
counselors.
the counselor is one counselor for like every 100 students, something like that, which even that is crazy. And then now we have, unfortunately, it does feel like we're in a bit of a mental health crisis. So now we have more students. Now we have more students that need help, right?
Yeah.
It's become normal for students to have separate parents. I saw another clip. This woman was taken back because her daughter had told her, "Mommy, how come you and Daddy live in the same house? I wish that you guys were separate so that I can go to Daddy's house when I don't want to hang out with Mommy, and I can go to Mommy's house when I don't want to hang out with Daddy." Because all of our friends at school have separated parents.
That's crazy, but I sort of get her. A lot of parents. No, not in the sense like, oh, I want my parents to get divorced. I get her in the sense of like, I have heard of so many families separating that just seeing my parents being one of the few that are actually together, I'm like, wow, that statistic is
He said, "Wow, you guys should break up."
The teacher that I was speaking to, they said about, obviously things change over the years. They've been teaching for like 30 years, but currently maybe 2/3 of their students have separate parents, which is really high. And the 1/3 that are together, we're almost certain that they're not necessarily happy. It's not necessarily a happy home, because so many parents are forced to stay together right now due to just the economic situation.
That or
So
just,
you can't leave.
if your kids are young, I've definitely seen in even my own family of, aunts and uncles that stay together until the kids are like over 18. So
they say they
won't
do it for the
split.
kids, but the whole time they're like fighting and creating a horrible environment for the kid. The kid would be better off in an environment that's not, full of fighting or violence or anything like that,
Yes. Or just resentment. That's the type of shit that like hangs in the air, and like your kid can feel it when
Exactly.
both of you are like not on the same page and just making this sort of stressful environment.
Yeah. So you have children that are growing up in stressful environments, are growing up in overstimulated environments, going to school, which is a much slower paced environment, and acting out because they don't know the proper way to act. They're not being parented correctly. And it's really affecting a lot of students, unfortunately, so much so that obviously the test scores from previous years are really bad. And, in a way we can blame COVID, but there's clearly a lot of factors going on here.
There's a lot. It's down to parenting. I would even say too, on the other side, and we have clear evidence of this from other countries. Like, I think our school system is terrible too. Like, not the student, not necessarily the teachers. There's a lot of great teachers that really want to be there for their children, but even just the United States against other countries' test scores, and it's because they teach very differently. I don't think it's great for kids younger, or like I forget which country has the highest test scores. It's one of the European countries, like Sweden, or
it might be Finland.
Yeah, I think it's
Finland for a long time.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's like they don't have homework they take back until like our
7th grade.
Yeah, like it would be like our 7th or 8th grade. Basically, junior high is when you start taking homework back. But before that, you're just learning in school, and they're also like very hands-on with their teaching. So like you do a lot of experimentation, and you're not expected to keep all that information in one go, kind of thing. So I mean, that's another thing. That's another topic. Is we could have like episode 7 is about the school system.
Yeah, I think this also goes well into your opinion corner too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my opinion corner, we've already been talking about how it's affecting children and how they can get bubbled up into school. And there are definitely parents where they actually do want to parent their kid, right? There are some, I made the joke, it seems like no one wants to parent their kids anymore. Some parents are like that. But there are also parents that do want to be hands-on with their kids, or they do want to be able to teach them, or, it's just things get in the way. So my opinion corner is talking about on the flip side of this on parenting, which is the parent themselves. So there are a couple of different papers and some research that I've looked over recently. So there's a study here that I have on parents are like overwhelmed and overworked than they ever have been. It's covered from the American Psychological Association. The one that I'm going to link is a 2023 one. I think they do it every couple years. So I'm just going to throw a couple numbers at you, but I'll try to make it like relevant and poignant again, because we all have attention span issues. But around...
I like numbers.
Well, yeah, it's good numbers.
Just the children.
Not just the children, it's all of us.
Kids,
Yeah.
listen up.
I'll have the editor put the Subway Surfer on the side while I'm talking about this
Honestly.
and have like the text come up in like big text and like it'll flash and stuff.
There you
But
go.
it says from the American Psychological Association, around 63 million parents in the United States with that are living with children under 18 years old. That 41% of parents in the U.S. now feel so stressed most days that they can't function. 41%. 48% say most days their stress is completely overwhelming. So I think on one side of it, you know, you've got, going back to like the iPad kid situation, is you have parents that are overworked and overwhelmed and they just feel like they don't have the capacity, and maybe they truly don't. Maybe they don't have the bandwidth for their kids. But I just think it's an important piece of the conversation about what's going on with the kids and what's going on with them at school. And like the work day is getting longer, especially for mothers. So there's another study. It was done by the U.S. Surgeon General in 2024. This was a study. It's called Parents Under Pressure. This particular study, I do believe it was released in 2024, but it was under the Biden administration. And so it states that the average employment work hours for parents have increased over time. And with parents now dedicating an average of 33.5 hours per week to employed work or engaging in work-related activities. So we're really trying to push for that 40 hours a week, like actually. And this represents a 28% increase for mothers. They're raising from almost 21 hours per week in 1985 to almost 27 hours. So from 21 to 27 hours per week in 2022. And then a 4% increase for fathers, increasing from 39 hours a week, almost 40, exactly like 39.8 in 1985 to 41.2 hours per week. So fathers as well, overwhelmed, overworked. And then mothers also now, since, you know, the 80s essentially, continuing to push into the workforce. Looks like
That's
they've
actually
had
really
the max
interesting.
increase.
You would think they would be working more back then. And as time goes on, we'd get better hours.
Oh, absolutely not. These statistics probably reflect more women having to start working. Like it can't just be one man working. Now you need double income for a household.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially
Yeah.
compared to then. And these days, even for men, if your work, it increased 4%, that's probably because they need that overtime to meet bills.
Yes.
So-
yeah, exactly. And now
That makes sense.
to the point of that, it's like both parents trying to get to that 40 hours a week per parent. So that's 80 hours of work, essentially, that you're bringing back home.
And they're still struggling.
And they're still
And
struggling.
then you have grandparents that can't even retire. They can't even afford to retire because,
That too.
you know, either maybe their 401k is getting wiped out right now with this economy. You know,
Hospital, they have...
I was talking to someone that said they lost like over 30,000 in their account recently just because of the economy, and they wanted to retire in 5 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then it's really sad for me when I go to like a fast food place and I see someone that should be retired working there.
Yeah.
It's obvious that they're not in a good situation, that they have to take a job. I mean, I'm sure there's places that some people get bored and they want to work, and that's totally fine too. I just don't think, you know, you'd work
not
at
commonly the case.
McDonald's
Yeah.
because you're bored.
Yeah, I'm bored. I'm going to work at
Unfortunately.
McDonald's. Yeah.
Honestly, this number
Yeah.
also shows, sorry to cut you off, Diamond.
No, you're good.
But I would say like this bullshit saying from the older people saying like, oh, the younger generation is lazy. Like, look at these numbers. We're working more than you ever did.
Yes. Yeah.
And we don't have anything to show for it. I think that's the worst part, right?
Yeah.
In the
Yes.
80s, you're working that many hours. You had a house, you had a car,
Making
you had a
bank.
second family.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Here
My
are the
grand.
actual numbers and facts. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we can barely get a house, let alone,
Barely get a
let alone
house.
our own place.
And we're literally, for men, over 40 hours a week. For women,
Exactly.
nearing 40 hours a week. Like, yeah, no, completely. And so, like, balancing work and family responsibility, you've got a work family conflict. You end up with burnout among parents and guilt, too. Like, especially if you've got, I mean, kids of any age, but especially when they're younger and you want to be able to spend that time. Like, if you're a parent that actually, wanted to be a parent, you're not in an environment where you're really allowed to or encouraged to, because your bandwidth is just completely taken up by work. Or, to Diamond's point, especially, like, yeah, you could be a caregiver to many. Caregiver does not just mean children. You could be having to care for your parents as well. Your older parents, could be siblings too. Everyone's kind of struggling here. So the bandwidth is just, it's really tight right now. So if you have a 3-year-old and they're crying and they're needing a lot of attention, and you got to be able to have that presentation done tomorrow, iPad kid makes sense. And the community, as Diamond also said, is gone. Everyone's working like this. Everybody is out doing this. Everyone's on the grind. So there is no one to lean on for your kid. My opinion here is that, like, the iPad kid is the new version of the latchkey kid in the 70s. Except for the only difference is mom and dad are at home working in their office, but they're still unavailable. Because again, it's still pushing towards work. And for the numbers we just saw, even more than they were in the 70s and the 80s. This is more time. Now, you're at home, thankfully. I mean, I guess that's one benefit to some extent. I mean, and not every person is also working from home. But even if you are, you're all that time that you would hope to get back from your commute is just being poured into your work. I am working a lot right now. Like Diamond and Ore can attest to this. I'm working from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's what my job requires. I work from home, but I work a lot. I could not imagine trying to have a kid or trying to raise one at the same time. So there is under that research called Parents Under Pressure. I highly recommend. It is a little more intensive. There's like 25 pages, I think. But I promise, like, honestly, it's a really good one to cover through because it's pretty comprehensive. They really don't waste your time with it. And they have a lot of really helpful graphics and things. It's very easy to read. But the main stressors that parents are really feeling right now, I think this is the top 5 to 6, is financial strain and economic instability. We know that. Time demands, which we just talked about, work, kids, and maybe your other family members, additional caregiving responsibilities. You have children's health. You're going to, in layman's terms on the sheet, it's basically like, got to keep your kid alive on these levels, which is like they have to, have a roof over their head. They have to have food, and like you keep them away from illness and sickness. And if they are sick, you have to take them to the hospital. You have to, maybe your kid has certain allergies. So like children's health isn't the additional stress right under that. Then there's parental isolation and loneliness. There's a lot of research, especially in this one, Parents Under Pressure, that talks about this piece. So you could be working a lot, and your kids are also needing you on these sort of like fundamental levels, and you don't have enough time to be with your partner. He's working too. She's working too. So when you get home, there's no time for that, and you can end up with loneliness. So there's that. And there's technology and social media. You're seeing other people and how they parent and how well they look, how well it seems that they're doing in their parenting. So there's a comparison issue with what you're seeing online as opposed to what you're experiencing in reality. We already all know, even if parenting isn't where you are in life, that I'm sure there's some part of your life that you've seen social media be depicted very differently, and you can feel behind in a lot of ways. So this is true for parents too.
Quick note, I think whenever I see somebody with kids and they're like taking them out somewhere, I just assume they're in debt.
Yeah?
What do you mean?
Probably to some extent, maybe, yeah.
Like the fact that they're able to like go off and do something like so much, I just assume that they're in debt. Because and that's kind of rings true for like childless people too, where like, oh, how can you afford a house? How can you afford this house? How get all this stuff, all this sort of
And you're like,
such a short amount of time.
You're like,
I kind of just assume
that's
it's
what
in
my
debt.
parents did. Like, we're going to Disneyland. We got Disney passes, and I'm like, woohoo, this is the best year of my life. And it's 2008.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're gonna file bankruptcy.
Like, oh, cool. Can I
But
have
we can
another
still go
ice
to
cream
Disneyland.
cone?
We have these passes still.
Yeah.
They're good for another year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's to your point about that is once you're already so far in the hole, you're just like, well, we got to go and experience some things. Might as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. This was
Exactly.
their Labubu.
this is their Disney
Labubu or mortgage.
or college.
Sorry, little Timmy, no college. We spent all your money door dashing because mommy couldn't afford to cook every night. 'Cause she was working
Right.
12-hour shifts.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, and so our last point there is like cultural pressures. So we talked about that a little just now, and then child's future, which is like college. So yeah, money. And my like kind of final point, we've already been kind of skirting about it, is I wrote it as something capitalism something, which is, jokes aside, I think this is just another clear example of like the destructive nature of capitalism. Like, and how that threads through our society. This is a good example. The pinpoint starts with the kids can't read. Well, why? Well, the parents aren't parenting. Well, why? Well, the parents can't parent because they're busy working, and they're working more than they ever have. They're making less than they ever did. They're probably in debt, some level of it. Actually, I should have looked at some reports for like parents that are in debt. I'm sure that's increased. Kind of. To Jorge's
Oh, yeah.
point. The debt
I would
ratio
not be surprised.
is insane, I'm sure. So
I mean, just having a child in America is expensive. Like just giving birth to a child,
yeah.
you're already paying for that.
I remember
That doesn't
back
include like diapers,
no,
food. If you're, oh my gosh, you guys know how expensive formula is?
it's
like,
expensive.
Yeah, I
it's,
almost got
you're
scammed
broke-
for it.
it's criminal.
If you're
$30
broke,
bucks.
I hope your titties work because it is expensive.
It is expensive. And if, hopefully if you are having a child soon, you won't experience this. But my aunt, my niece, she had her like 3 years ago. And baby was healthy. Everything went fine during the actual birthing. But I think the first 2-3 weeks of her being born, they actually found out that she had she was like lactose intolerant. And my aunt couldn't nurse properly. Like there's just, something going on there. And so they had to get her formula, and she needed very specialized formula. That container for that baby, so like God forbid if your baby can't have regular formula, was $50 on a small can. And sometimes
Wow.
not every store even had it. So like,
Yeah.
see, yeah, serious. It's very expensive. Yeah, so, I kind of just wrote on it. We always go, the joke of these episodes, it's like it circles back to capitalism, socialism, or sexism. I think this one.
Or racism.
Racism, yeah. I think we can attack this one. This one definitely could be racism too, but capitalism for sure, I think is our main culprit here. And I kind of just wrote here, it was like, if we subscribe to the idea that a functioning society means a society that runs on a man-made currency, and now more than ever, it requires all of your time and your efforts and your brain power to just make ends meet, because that's how we've stated this is how a society runs, then you will never have the bandwidth to be a parent to your child. Like, I don't think this is a path that we're on that is going to be feasible long term. I think we are going to hit a wall with this at some point, and to some extent, I'm sure we're also going to hit a financial wall as well.
Yeah.
I know I have.
You don't
You
even have
have-
kids yet.
Yeah, you don't even
What are you talking about?
Woo, mind you, this guy wants to have kids in like 5 years.
I'm the only one out of my friends that I know that wants kids. I say wants because a few might already have some, but probably don't want more.
Yeah.
So
The
But-
only one that I'm like kind of one of our friends, at least she has a house. I'll say that. At least
her.
she
I know what
has a
you're
house.
talking about. Yeah.
congratulations.
Because people our age do not, on average, have a house.
No.
Yeah. If you do, congratulations.
Congratulations.
So, as the guy who actually wants kids, I want
Big surprise. The man in the group wants kids.
to imagine
Yeah.
that. It's so funny. I was watching Love Island. Or not, no, Love is Blind. We were watching Love is Blind, me and my girlfriend, and every single man, every single one is like, oh yeah, I see myself wanting kids. And then after talking to you, I think you'd be a great mother. And then all of them is like, oh, probably like a quarter of them are like, yeah, I want kids, but the rest of them are like, oh yeah, you know,
Fuck them kids.
I'll think about it. And they always say I'll think about it because they don't want to straight up say no, because they know that's what's going to disqualify them from.
Have
like,
you guys
finding a
seen
man.
Idiocracy?
Yes.
Yes.
It makes me think of that scene in the beginning where it's like, I'm not trying to be rude, but the stupid people keep having kids.
Yes.
Sure
And then
do.
the smart people are like, oh, well, we'll wait. We want to make sure our careers are ready. And then when their careers are ready, they're like, oh, you know, we're at the height of our careers. And then it gets to the point where it's like they waited so long that they're no
Yeah.
longer able to have kids.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
the stupid people keep shooting out babies like nothing.
Keep multiplying.
And this whole time, like one couple can't even have like a single child because they just feel like they're not going to be able to provide for that child to give the child the best life.
Yeah. So
That was a documentary.
What did you think about that, Jorge? I don't know if you like, I'm making an assumption. It's like, I think for women, that's a pretty common perception that we have, that almost every man we come across, that is exactly how they talk. I don't know if you knew that. Do you know, like, most men talk to women that way? Where they're just like, yeah, I want a football team. Like, but
oh my god,
legitimately.
that's the exact phrase they fucking use in the show, by the
I'm
way.
telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Men are scary because they're like, yeah, you know, if you could pop out 6, a solid 6 would be great. Like, what did you think about that? I don't know if you've ever seen men talk like that.
Scene? Yeah, I used to say that. I used to say that.
Oh my!
I used to say that.
You
Now-
said you
On
wanted
a
6?
soccer team.
I used to say that. I used to say
crazy.
that.
That's
Heavy
crazy. I
emphasis
thought
on
He
used.
had unlimited money.
Right.
Heavy emphasis on used too. Yes, no, because I say that like in high school. I said that in high school.
Yeah.
Right?
These men are in their 30s.
Yeah, they're in their 30s. They're talking about like, oh yeah, I want a soccer team. I hope you have the fucking income for that. Number one. Number two, yeah, I don't like men that say that. That's automatically a huge red flag, because
Yeah.
that's very much not into consideration of their partner's body and the amount of time and the amount of energy that you have to put into each individual child if you don't want any of them to feel like they're being left behind.
Oh yeah, it feels very flippant
So-
with like one
Yeah,
of the
no.
biggest decisions
Oh, yeah.
of your
I mean,
life.
You
Yeah.
grew up with a lot of siblings. I'm sure
Yeah.
you know how it's like.
Yes, yes. Wear protection
like,
is
"There's a
all
lot
I
of
can
kids
say.
here."
I love my siblings, but don't make
Like-
a household of 6.
Like, it's funny. Like with more education and more knowledge of the world, you by default should be thinking, yeah, maybe not that many kids is not feasible. Not even counting like income and all that, just like having all that attention is just too much for the immediate two parents. So
Yeah, how are you,
know,
supposed
it's
to
just-
divide your time amongst like 6 to 8 kids? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's-
if you know,
that's-
if you have one parent that's making all the income and the other parent's a stay-at-home mom, that's or dad.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure on a single parent.
yeah.
And that's why I need therapy.
So I mean, as the man that actually wants kids, I have put a lot of thought as to how I would raise my child. One of the things I have more or less recently said is, honestly, no, I think I've always thought this in my life, that I would want to put my kids into public school no matter what. Homeschooling is, I think, especially these days, it's just not feasible for a lot of people, because, you have to have one person making all the income and the other person willing to put in that effort to like teach your kids.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And then for private school, that's too expensive. That is so expensive. I was looking things up, and they found that the average tuition for just grade school is $12,000. And for high school, it's $17,000. And if your kid wants to go private all throughout, it's going to cost $300,000. And I mean all throughout, as in, like, I don't even know if that includes college, because there are private colleges.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the monetary sense. Socially, I would want my kids, because I feel like my kids, or any kids that go through either, well, I guess mainly private school. Private school, if they go to private school, I feel like they might have a little sense of classism, a little sense of superiority, if you will.
Well, that's why you parent your kid.
See, that's not that is not
Teach
the
them not to be
solution.
classist.
Hell no. And then
Take them to Skid Row.
socialization of public school to me is one of the most important things. It helps develop the social skills and meeting people of all backgrounds. And I think that does bring a lot of perspective into a child's life.
Diversity.
Diversity. exactly. And that's definitely what helped me get out of my I could have fallen through the alt-right pipeline so far.
Oh man,
I clawed myself.
Latino. Not the brown man looking in the mirror.
I clawed myself out of there. I used to be homophobic. Did I used to be racist? I don't know. I used to be everything under the sun.
Not the racist phase.
Like, there's so many things I regret. There's so many things I regret that I said or did in high school where, like, these days I'm like, damn, I was a little shitter. My kid is not going to be that way. But, you know, meeting new people of all walks of life, of all orientations, you know, really did help me get out of that. You know, it really helps put into perspective a lot of people's experiences and my own experiences and, you know, how short-sighted everything I used to say was and or I guess currently say still is. So
also kind of what you said here, I mean, for the folks at home and listening and don't like maybe necessarily know each one of our pasts, like I was homeschooled. I think the only caveat of why I talk so much is because I was in a household of 6 siblings. So I kind of had a mini school at home all the time. So I wasn't isolated from children. But I do think also if I had gone to public school, what would have been helpful for me was diversity of ideas for sure. But to some extent, you know, there's a little bit of social
You would have learned about evolution.
I would have learned about evolution too. But just like social rule about if you had an idea or a thought that really is just not great, you're going to get clapped for that pretty quickly. So like you kind of start learning very early, I find. Of course, not every person. There's people who have gone through the public system and still little ass hats now. But,
yes,
you know, I think that's also a good thing of part of the social experimentation as you're younger is you get to experience your own expression in many ways towards other people and how it's received and how it's perceived. Again, there's negative aspects of that too. You know, kids can be cruel in a lot of ways. So it's not always helpful. But if anything, I still think you learn how to move in society in a way.
Yeah.
Personally, I would want to send my kid to a private school if I could afford it. But
Boo.
I'll say this. I'm against charter schools, but
Yes.
I would consider sending my kid to a magnet school. I would do that.
Can you explain to the audience what a magnet school is? Because I didn't know what it was until like literally you described it to us.
So a magnet school is basically a school that will specialize in typically math and science, and then students can apply to get in based on their grades and stuff to that school. Obviously, they still accept students that live locally, but students from further out will apply to get into that school and compete just because the school has more programs and stuff. A big
Is it
one
more
for
like
me,
Cold Dan? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it like more hands-on or more like...
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm sure some are. Some of them will specialize in like art, so they'll have more programs for like theater and music and stuff. For me, when I was in high school, a lot of kids would go like a couple cities away to Fullerton. There's a school called Troy High School, and that school is it's like right next to Cal State Fullerton. So they work with the colleges and they offer like a bunch more AP classes than what my school offered. And so students would take tests trying to get into Troy High School and go there instead because they know that they can get more credits and stuff and just a higher level of education than what was local.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Another reason to be against charter schools is that the money for that school could have gone to public education, especially for kids that definitely need it. The fact that we talked about the school psychologists and the fact that I don't remember if we even had one, we might not even have had one. I don't know how many languages y'all were offered to learn. Well, I guess mostly Diamond. We only had like Spanish, German, and French, and that's it. I don't know if you guys had like other languages that were offered to be taught.
We did not have German, and I don't think we had Latin either. For my school, we had Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and French, I want to say. it was 4.
And I had level 1 Spanish Rosetta Zone. That's what I had.
Yeah.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Kerrigan.
Azul. Blue.
Azul.
Azul. And
But,
I
you know,
think bicycle is bicicleta. Is that how you say it? Like that's...
Bicicleta.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
not
what I
bad.
took from that. Blue and bike.
Where is it? ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Yes. But aside from that, another thing I always think about when raising a kid is a lot of people kind of take children's intelligence for granted. I think, and also it has also been proven that children are a lot smarter than you think, than the average adult probably thinks or imagines.
Gives them credit.
Yeah, absolutely. They learn faster than one would assume. They have this because of brain plasticity. I don't know if I think it's pretty well known. I sure am. I think it's sort of well known that kids pick up things faster than an adult does. That's because their brain is developing, and that allows them to, in real time. So, our brains are fully formed. It's hard for us to create new neurons, new pathways as adults because, evolution kind of forced us to have this already set at this age. But when we're younger, we're still developing, we're learning the whole world. Children are a lot more impressionable. And so they pick up things a lot faster than we do, especially with language. I know we touched up on a little bit just now. So they do develop language skills faster than adults, right?
That's why dual immersion programs are so important.
Yes. So indeed, I think, I've thought about it. I am Mexican. My parents only talk to me in Spanish at the house. And then in school, it was only in English. Obviously, there is ESL to help, bilingual children.
Were you in that when you were a kid?
I was for 1 year in kindergarten. And then once I got to first grade, they're like, nah, he's good. I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think my partner was also in it kind of similarly. Like they were in it for like a second and then they were like, actually, these kids speak English.
Yeah. And I mean, that's good. That's good. And I think that kind of duality helps a child a lot, right? They know Spanish at home. They learn English in school. And then once they're adults, hopefully they can incorporate both and they know the language sooner than an adult would. I don't know if you guys have tried learning a language recently. It's harder for us because we don't have that same advantage of brain plasticity. Our brains are already formed.
Azul bicicleta.
I found this study here that obviously they've done studies on bilingual children. Children don't really get confused on the language. It just takes longer for them to learn one language in particular, right? Let's say a child learns English, by the time they're like 5 or something. Well, a bilingual child will probably learn both languages at like an acceptable level at that age, at maybe around 7 or 8 years old.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just your brain is wired for pattern recognition really early on.
Yeah, so it takes a little bit longer, but in the end, it's really worth it. It's really worth it. So definitely bilingual parents, please try doing that. Teach your kids the alternative language at home, and then they're obviously going to learn English at school. So
please do it. My parents were hella Americanized and they didn't want me to have like an accent or I don't know, just didn't want me to know a language. So now I only speak English and I'm not even good at that. So teach your kid multiple languages, please.
I'm working on my Spanish as an adult because, similar thing. I feel so bad because my grandmother actually did try to teach me Spanish, but my mom would be like, oh, I don't speak Spanish because we're in America and you can just speak English. And so as a little kid, I was a little asshole and I'm like, I don't need to learn Spanish because I live in America.
Yeah.
And now look at me in my 20s, a no sabo kid in my 20s.
Level 1 is at a stone, baby.
It's embarrassing. Yeah. Maybe I can get to level 2 or 3. I don't know. But
and on a more like social aspect of it, you're kind of cutting off their roots if you don't teach them the alternative language, right? I cannot imagine trying to talk to my grandma or any of my relatives in Mexico without speaking Spanish. That would be so hard.
Yeah.
That'd be so hard. And then what? You just lose like that kind of connection to them. So that would be my plea to any current parents or, people that are thinking to be parents that are bilingual and are able to teach their children that. Or if you somehow have the income, teach them when they're young, maybe have a Spanish tutor or something when they're young. I don't know.
Pass on your culture.
It's really common for parents to send their kids to like Chinese after school programs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that way their kid will be fluent and stuff and they can continue connecting to their culture because they have that language. And, a lot of people say like you don't need to speak the language to understand and appreciate your culture. And I agree with that to an extent, but you're really missing out on a lot when you don't understand the language.
Or just
you
more
really are.
That sentiment is good for the kids, like for me, where I didn't have a choice in that growing up. But for parents, please don't take that sentiment.
Yeah.
Teach your kid different languages, and also let's say you're not necessarily a family that comes from a specific language. Like, let's say English is your main language. Like, you're a white family, for example. I don't know. Still get your kid in bilingual classes.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't hurt.
still, it's still great.
It literally is an advantage. Like, your kid's going to get paid more when they have a job now.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Pick a language. Spanish is just one of the most common ones, but pick something.
Yeah. Along with that, in terms of speech, I'm gonna curse around my kid. I will say that I'm gonna curse around my kid, and I feel like parents should not clutch their pearls if other people curse around their kids either. I think that is a parenting issue. I think that parents should be able to tell their kids, "Hey, that was a word you just heard. Don't ever repeat that word," because people are gonna say it out loud. You can't control everything that they hear, right?
I knew that as a kid. I feel like there were bad words, and I knew it was a bad word, and I knew I wasn't supposed to say that. And I didn't really become comfortable with cussing until at least I was a teenager,
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are also benefits to doing this, right? You can teach kids boundaries in terms of speech and in terms of age, right? You can tell them not until you're older, not until like you're a teenager or something like that, right? Or like there are slurs. You can be like, hey, that's a bad word because of this. Or, this is the history behind this word, and that's why you shouldn't say it. So I would say, don't police what other people are saying. Teach your children why they shouldn't say it. That is an important aspect behind speech issues.
Yeah, I would say I can agree to some extent. I'll just, be the devil advocate on the other side. Maybe like...
Yes.
Also, maybe too, not to say you didn't say this, but I would just say maybe there's still some level of limit. There's certain curse words I probably wouldn't say in front of a kid. Like I think the initial first level, like shit, damn, and stuff like that. But I don't know if I would say fuck me in front of like a 6-year-old. You know what I mean? I think the connotation is really strong.
Yeah. Right. Like there's a boundary.
Still age appropriate levels. I think you can use certain words here.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I was exposed to a lot of curse words. Well, one, my dad really liked rap music, so that's what I grew up with, and those songs are packed with language, right? And then just like the content that my mom had me watch, like she had me watch horror movies.
Crazy.
So yeah, there's like cursing and stuff like that. And I don't think you should make your kids listen to or watch any of that stuff. I'm not condoning that, but teach your kids. Just tell them like, hey, don't use this word. It's a bad word. And honestly, I don't even know if I like questioned why it was bad. I was just like, okay, I'm not supposed to say that word.
Yeah, exactly. This one's going to be a little bit more controversial just because I just recently talked to my girlfriend about this, about how we would teach our children how to potty train. I say as soon as they learn how to sit up, I think I will try to help them associate the toilet as a place to use the restroom, right? I think I was looking at the Pull-Ups website as when to start, potty training your child. They're like, oh, don't try to teach them when they're being exposed to new things in life, which, by the way, at that age, it's just about everything, right? And I think it's usually recommended. I saw everywhere. It's usually recommended to start when they're basically 2 years old. And I think to myself, I'm like, I don't know. To me, that's kind of late. I don't know.
I think it's more like your kid. I think just
it sounds like a language thing.
Yeah, so like I'll let you say your piece.
Yeah, sorry. Let me elaborate. There definitely are people that have practices where you're potty training even in the first couple months of them being born, technically. Like there are things that you can do. So I think they usually put in the 2 year just because they can stand up, walk over to the toilet. I think that's why they usually recommend it then. It's harder to do it when they're younger because they'll just take a shit. Like they're not thinking about, I need to go somewhere. Like eight months, there's most people have found it very difficult to try to communicate with an 8-month-old to do that. But yeah, there's no hard rule that you have to wait. If you can get it before.
I want to know what your girlfriend thought about this.
She thought I think basically as soon as they start walking, so about 1/1.5 years old.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's
fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. I just refuse to like big diaper win and I want to teach my kid as soon as possible.
I mean, if you don't
right?
want to keep buying pull-ups, you can just buy like the reusable diapers.
I'll tell you, Jorge, I'll find the woman. There's this woman who's her bread and butter is that she's been able to potty train her kids and they don't wear diapers at all from birth.
I wouldn't say that, but
that's similar to the clip he sent, right? They don't wear diapers, right?
Oh, is that?
Clip? I don't know.
I have a TikTok. I do have a TikTok where this lady does talk about like no diapers, like basically as soon as they're a few months old. But I'm kind of like, there is a limit, right? I'm just for me personally, I would just probably start sooner. Basically. So that would be me. My kids will be bullies, but they'll be bullies for good. They'll be bullies for good. As in, they will fight for special needs or LGBTQ plus kids.
And they beat the shit out of the other kids.
Exactly. They beat the shit out of those bullies because those kids get bullied more. And I have such vivid memories of my class, and I regret it. I didn't do anything actively. I didn't say anything actively to like special needs or LGBTQ plus kids, but I would just stand on the side. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. And, you know, obviously as an adult with retrospect, I regret that immensely. I found this publication that says 25 to 34% of special needs kids have a higher chance than non-special needs kids. And then I found another report that says 52% of LGBTQ plus kids do get bullied in schools as well. So I would want my kid to be the one to speak up. And I know that's a lot to put on one kid. I'm not going to tell them get in trouble all the time, but I will say at least make an effort to befriend that child or say,
maybe like, Dad, I stood up and I got my shit rocked because of you.
I got bodied today.
If my kid ends up being the popular kid, can they at least lead by example and be like, hey, let's not fuck with the special needs kid. Let's, you know, include them in our game. Let's, you know, have them. I want
those
them to be a good
the
role
best
model.
popular kids, right? It's the ones that were actually like really kind to everyone.
Yes.
Deserved.
I think a lot of nerds have like a fond memory, if they ever had one, like a popular kid, like coming and being nice with them, and then everybody else ends up being nice with them too. You know, it's unfortunate how that's a hierarchy as a class, but if my kid can end up being that way, then I would want to teach them to be that kind of child. Yeah. Another thing, sports and activities. Unfortunately, nerd parents, you got to put them in sports. You got to try to put them in some kind of sport, right? There's so many benefits in putting them in, like, my default is soccer. Obviously, I grew up as a soccer kid, so
I was a soccer kid.
I think you need to listen to your kid too, because my mom put me in softball, and she put me in softball and cheerleading, and I wanted to be in karate.
There you go.
We'll put you in karate.
And so in softball, I'm like sitting in the back picking daisies in the field because I had no interest in it.
Right. Right.
But if I was in karate, I would have been like, pow, pow. I would have been like really into it because it's something that I wanted to do. So listen to your kids. Stop being selfish and choosing what you want them to do.
Yes, please. And, you know, you can easily tell from how much effort your child is putting in, right?
Yes.
If you don't see them being that engaged in the sport, put them in something else. The world is their oyster. You got to let them know that. And,
I did soccer, and then I did track, and then I did karate, and then I was in piano classes.
Yeah, there you go. And which ones did you enjoy?
I love piano.
Actually, I liked karate a lot. I enjoyed soccer, and then track was probably one of my least favorites. But looking back at it now, I'm actually glad I really did it, because the one thing that it did teach me is that I can push past limits that I respond well to people that can see like something in me that I cannot see. I didn't think I could run very fast when I started, but I had a coach. He was actually a male coach, but he was like, you can do it. You don't see it, but you can do it. And I ran, I was one of the fastest girls in the group, and I didn't think I'd ever be there. So it just, discipline. And it also taught me like push past your limit of what you think you know or what you think you can do.
Yeah, it helps teach kids.
But I was just sweating
to have
a lot, so I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Same. But, you know, having that type of like having a goal, having, you know, some discipline, some kind of routine, that helps kids in the long run.
That too, and like I said, like it'll help your kid recognize that there's a challenge. Like all of these are technically hard. They're gonna hit a wall at some point on some level of their skill, and have an adult or just anybody like come alongside you and help show you how to push past a limit is really powerful.
Yeah. It is, and hopefully that can bleed into their education as well, right? Kids shouldn't just give up just because it's hard.
Yes.
I think they need to recognize that there is an obstacle in their way and they need to push through it.
Also, these are all screenless activities.
Yes, get them off the iPads.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And if they're sitting in the field picking daisies, at least they are learning how to deal with being bored.
Yes, exactly. I'm bored. I can go do the sport. There you go. So with all that said, ladies, we're in our hot take section. My fault. We are in our hot takes.
We're in Hot Topic right now.
Damn, it's been a while.
Why is it so kawaii in here?
Five Nights at Freddy's everywhere.
Right.
So, lady, what we got for me? What do we have? Hit me with it.
My hot take is that everything is working exactly as planned. I think that the people in power don't want you to raise your children. They don't want us to be educated. And I think if we do want to see changes in that, we need to be proactive. We need to be, really taking education seriously, taking your children's behavior seriously, and it is absolutely a reflection of you when your child doesn't behave, but you need to get over yourself.
Please.
Genuinely get the F over yourself and parent your child, raise your child, learn to be a better parent.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree.
You're only creating a child that is not going to be respectful. It's not going to listen. This is the person that's going to take over society one day. And you're creating, I don't want to say for lack of a better words, like a little monster, but you need to take responsibility. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks. And your child, especially if your kid has been looking at a screen for years, yeah, they're gonna throw a fit when you take it away. That's their life.
Yeah.
That's who raised them, not you.
There you go. That's so true.
So I hate to be, I'm kind of harsh here, but get over yourself, learn to raise your kid, or else your future, I don't even think they're gonna be a future doctor, but if they become a future doctor, that's who's taking care of you.
Oh, I hate to think that in our 70s we're gonna have the iPad kids as doctors. That sucked.
Well,
it won't even be the iPad kids. It'll be maybe 1 or 2 generations after them.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be the children of the iPad kids.
oh God.
It's gonna be Idiocracy. That's what it's gonna be.
It's I'm telling you, it's a documentary.
It is a documentary.
So for my hot take, I want y'all to hear me out on this. All right. I think it's okay to beat your children if it's warranted.
Clip that.
If it's warranted. If it's
there
warranted.
he is, FBI man. There he is.
If it's warranted.
Okay, there's a very specific way you can hit your child legally.
Yes.
Legally.
Legally, yes. I know this because I have spoken to CPS as a child.
There you go. I'm not thinking it now, but
Do we want to elaborate?
Do you want to do it, Jorge? I mean, it's your hot take.
Like the rule. I don't know what the rule is. Is
So
the rule like
specifically,
don't break skin?
legally, yes, you're not supposed to break skin. You're not supposed to leave bruises. You're only supposed to be able to use your hand on the bum.
That's fair. That's fair.
You could smack their butt. You cannot be smacking their face. You can't pull their hair. You can't punch them. If you're actually beating your kid like that, you need to have your kids taken away, unfortunately.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
I will say, so I don't know if the white community knows about this, but we always make fun of them because we always say that they never get beat. And that's why they always talk back to their parents. They always get a bad rap because I talk to immigrant or brown or black families, at least children, and you will know we do not fuck with our parents. We don't talk back unless they're actual like dickheads and they should go to jail, right?
I have a couple comments. One, I feel like, not to defend the white community, but I feel like there's like no in between, right? Your parent is either like an abusive piece of shit that like beats you, or your parents like lets you get away with fucking everything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I know for a fact if like, for example, I will say hitting your kid is absolutely a last resort. It is a last resort because if your child has not responded well to getting their things getting taken away, getting grounded, all the normal procedures that we take as an adult. That's because they don't fear you as parents. They don't fear any repercussions. They don't fear the teacher because they know they can get away with it because the parent is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like they need to have that fear of the parent, because they could be like, oh, I'm not going to talk back to the teacher because my dad is going to do something, or my mom's going to do something.
Not Jorge
right?
being like, bring back fear, instill fear in your children.
A little bit.
I'm not fully against what Jorge's saying, just because. So from one of the teachers that I was speaking with, right? She worked at a school that was mainly immigrant students, and then she switched to a school that was mainly second, third generation students. I mean, some of them, yeah, a lot of them are white Latinos, because it's LA. But
right,
the students at the school where they were mostly immigrant, they were a lot better behaved, and the parents wanted what was the best education for their child. So if you host a meeting with the parent is very receptive to, little Jimmy's struggling in this, he needs help with this. And the parent's really thankful for the teacher. They're like, yes, absolutely. We want to work with you. We want to, get little Jimmy to the best he could be. And then at this other school where most kids are, third, fourth generation Latinos, the parent is disrespectful to the teacher. The student is disrespectful to the teacher when they host the meetings. Oh, it's your fault. It's your responsibility that my student is failing or that my child is failing.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely, I don't know if this is necessarily the disconnect hitting the child, because obviously I'm like third, fourth generation and I got my ass beat. But I do think there's something going on there where the immigrant parent is more receptive to getting the child like the actual help they need versus making excuses for the child's bad behavior and not actively trying to do what's best for the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that disciplining your child is definitely taking responsibility in that way.
And like Jorge said, it's more like our last resort thing, or at least that's how I see it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And each kid is different. There's very few times where I've seen kids that need that type of discipline. Yes. A lot of kids are honestly usually really good and don't require that. But
yeah, most kids.
It is something in your wheelhouse that you can use if you have a very difficult child.
Yeah. So that's just me.
Okay. My hot take is don't have kids. Just don't.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'll elaborate a little. Obviously, really more. What I'm trying to say is I don't think everyone should have kids. And also, it's a pretty big, not even pretty big. It is one of the biggest undertakings you're ever going to do. And so if anything, my hot take technically is don't have kids, but it's really more like if you're being serious about wanting to have kids, really do some internal work, if I could recommend it, and think about why you want to have kids. Is it something just because everyone does that? Is it a standard thing? Is it something you really want for yourself? And if it is really something you want for yourself, why? And it's just because it's one of the biggest things you're ever going to do in your life, and it's not easy. It's super challenging. And as we just discussed on many different levels, there's going to be a challenge almost on every level of that kind of life journey. And on top of that, as it is right now, the way that the world's going in terms of economy and society and just even intercommunications with our countries, there's a lot of things going on. I'd like to just be like, don't do it because of economy. But there's a lot of things you have to consider that you could be subjecting somebody to. I know it's hard to look at something 20 or 30 years from now. Hopefully we'll be better off then than we are now, but we don't know that. And you may not think about that. The water wars. You just may not be thinking about that. But, I won't say who, and I won't say like the relation of the family member, but I have a family member who just recently had a kid, and she was like, I was so excited to have a child, and this child is great. But she's like, I am now starting to think as she's getting older that she's going to have to deal with a level of, it could be something serious like that. It could be World War III, for example. This could be something your kid has to go through. Again, I don't want to doomsday having children, but just really consider and be intentional is really what I'm trying to say. If you're wanting to be a parent, please do it intentionally, and not just do that for yourself, but really think about the child holistically. Like, if you really want to give them the best, really make sure that you have what you need to be able to do that. And if you can't, or if you don't feel like you're up for that challenge, don't have kids. I think that's an okay thing to do. Don't have kids. Yes.
Absolutely. Definitely second give it a second thought.
Give it a second thought. Be a fun aunt or uncle. Like, you can have kids in your life. You don't have to bear them, you know, if that's not really what you want to do. That's okay.
Absolutely.
Protection exists, y'all.
Protection exists.
And don't let someone... you know what? Let's save this for another episode. Don't let your partner tell you that it doesn't feel comfortable for them or that you shouldn't take it. We'll get into that in another time.
Yes. All right, positive section. My positive section sounds kind of bad, but I don't mean it in a bad way. But millennials and Gen Zs are having like less kids, according to the CDC, like birth rates. It's at an all-time low. So like technically that's bad news to some. It's 1.6 children born per woman. I've never understood how we get a 0.6 something when it comes to like a full person, but I know it's like a statistic number thing.
Yeah, it's an average. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, on average, we have 1.5 children being born, so half a baby. Why this is a positive section is, meaning to some extent, hopefully, yes, you could point that to economy, but I also think people are thinking about childbearing more intentionally. So I think the positive section for me is for some of these kids that are going to be like maybe 1 or 2 siblings, they'll grow with more dedicated focus from their parents. So as opposed to what my experience was, which I had like 5 or 6 siblings, which there were things that were good about it or things that I can look back on that were nice. But yeah, a huge part of my upbringing was there just wasn't a lot of bandwidth for me and my needs. So I think for parents that are thinking intentionally, having only a couple or just as much as they can manage, I think is a positive thing.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think it's positive for women. I do think there's just positive repercussions around, and the only people that don't benefit from this are probably the older people looking for Social Security. Or companies or corporations. They just want a larger workforce. So no, this is a positive.
Because if they have a larger workforce, it's more competitive and they can offer shittier wages.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, this is a good thing. The human race is not on the verge of extinction. Don't listen to that bullshit. Having less kids means more resources to them.
The great replacement theory.
God.
Yes. That's another episode.
Trust me, having less for now is a benefit for society. Trust me.
I'd also say for my positive section, we have real data on the best style of parenting. And if you're a parent, you could start doing it now. The American Academy of Pediatrics have said that authoritative parenting has the most benefits when it comes to having a mentally well-rounded child, a very secure child. And, maybe people don't want to hear that. Maybe people want to hear that gentle parenting is the best method. Unfortunately, it's not. You need to have structure for the child. And I honestly feel like the structure, my mom was not the perfect parent. And she did a lot of things on her own. But I do think the structure that she set up for me really helped me later in life. Because I have friends that struggle with deadlines. And, I'm saying this to someone with ADHD. I have friends that struggle with deadlines. I have friends that struggle with, getting to places on time. Just like things in general that I felt a lot of pressure to. Basically, I just think that there's a lot of skills that I got from the pressure that she gave me that helped me as an adult. That, if I had a parent, like, because I wasn't really raised by my dad, but the times when I was with my dad and I could see how his behaviors would have really harmed me, is there is no urgency with him. He'll say, oh, I'm on my way right now. I'm going to come pick you up, and doesn't show up for like 5 hours later, sometimes even the next day. Like, this is a person that is inconsistent. And how is a child supposed to become a successful adult?
What do they learn from that?
Yeah. People being inconsistent, people not doing what they say they're going to do. It's just not beneficial in the end. So I don't think you should beat your child and control every aspect of their life. That's not what I'm saying at all. But understand rules and boundaries and a structure. Because at the end of the day, structure is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. My positive section is that my children will lead the way. Do not worry. The next generation will be led properly by my children. And, y'all got nothing to worry about. The future is bright. But in all seriousness, I do think with that anecdote, I do think that hopefully I'm hoping that these days, I always refer to a pendulum, right? So the pendulum has swung to like children, being abused from their parents, you know, having that strict parenting, like Diamond said, and now we've swung to like gentle parenting, and I feel like we have learned from those mistakes, hopefully as well. Each generation, in my opinion, improves upon the previous generation, so I feel like I'm hoping that the next generation will be parented a little better, because we already see the repercussions of the bad parenting these days. So, yeah, hopefully we can incorporate better parenting styles for today. So, yeah, it is what it is. So with that said, ladies, anything else for this episode? Any lasting messages for our audience?
I think we're good.
I don't know. Raise your kids. Raise your fucking kids. I don't know.
Be
Raise your
involved.
kids
Be
and get
involved.
therapy.
And if
Yeah.
you need help, ask for help.
Ask
and
for
if
help.
if someone asks you for help, fucking help.
Yeah.
Create a community.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that said, ladies, this is our closeout. As always, everyone, that's just our opinion. But don't forget, we're unqualified.
If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok and connect with us on our Discord server. Bye-bye.